if we were in that situation. And so I think back, in fact, I saw somebody with a shirt earlier. I think back to the 1930s in Europe with Italy and Germany and Spain. And I say to myself, if we had been there, would we have been one of those who stayed silent while our neighbors were persecuted? Or would we have had the courage, even if we were not in the majority, to speak up? And so my wife and I decided that we're there now, and that we could not be a couple who looked our kids in the eyes 10 years from now as we were slipping into authoritarianism and said, sorry guys, my mother, your mother and I were binge watching Netflix. We didn't have time to deal with it. And so we formed Kentucky Citizens for Democracy, which has since exploded. Now, you'll have to pardon me once again for the history teacher in me, but let me take you back to the late 1960s and early 1970s. This was back before our representatives had been bought out, back when they still represented, many of them still represented the people. And so you had people who said, we're tired of unsafe conditions. And so you had Mr. Ralph Nader in the late 60s who said, we're not going to live with unsafe cars. He wrote unsafe at any speed. And he rallied the automobile industry. They didn't like him very much. And he made them get those seatbelts in the cars and safety features, which saved thousands of lives. Then we said, sorry, Koch brothers, that's how they made their original fortune, was with oil. We said, you're not just going to dump your oil and chemicals into the ground. They were responsible for deaths. I mean, people had died because of their action. And we said, we're not going to do that anymore, so we formed the Environmental Protection Agency. Then we said, you know what, factories, you've got rich guys who own these factories, we're not going to let you just have whatever unsafe conditions you want to in your factories. And so we formed OSHA, so the people were rising up and demanding better for themselves. But unfortunately, the people with the money decided there was going to be a backlash. So Lewis Powell issued his infamous Powell memo. Eventually he would become a Supreme Court justice and start to chip away at our finance laws, starting to equate speech with money. And so he rallied the billionaires. All right? So that's how we got the Cato Institute. They started funding that. That's how we got the Federalist Society that started appointing judges. That's where Trump has gotten all his appointees, is from the Federalist Society. And then we got Mr. Richard Mellon Scaife, who formed the Heritage Foundation, that culminated in his dream with President Trump and Project 2025 of ripping down those federal agencies that we had worked so hard to build. And so, as you know, over time, their message was consistent. You got to hand it to them. They ran a campaign. Their message was consistent with ALEC and the state legislatures: lower taxes, lower taxes, lower taxes. And this has happened for decades. So now we come to today, and now here you are. And so now your kid is sitting in a classroom with 30-something students, all right, with no teacher aides, because they don't get paid anything. I mean, it hurts my heart because I'm a retired principal from Kentucky. I'm working in Indiana now, and they have the same problems. It hurts my heart, all right? And then they can't pay the science and math teachers because they want to make some money. So now your kid's sitting in the room with a substitute teacher who doesn't know how to teach these subjects. Then, did I blow it out? So then, now you're driving over potholes and everything because our state budgets have run dry. So it's affecting your everyday life because these rich people don't want to pay their taxes. So now these counties have to make it up in their budget somehow. So where are they going to get that money from? Okay. All right. So now, anyway, they're going to fill their prisons like our Oldham County Detention Center and like Grayson County, where I'm going on Thursday night to speak at their town hall. They're going to fill their prisons up with ICE detainees for the per diem payments per head, and that's how they're trying to make up for their county budget. So imagine if I'm watching one of these ICE people that are breaking up these families, and somebody came up to me and they said, "Hey, Slider, man, I know a way you can make money off of that." If I said, "Yeah, man, give me that deal, I'll make some money off of that," I'd be a pretty crappy human being, wouldn't I? But that's exactly what our detention centers are doing in Oldham and Grayson, and we've had enough of it. It's immoral, it's wrong, and we need to put an end to it. So write and talk to your fiscal court and demand that we put an end to this practice of making money off of these ICE detainees. All right, y'all, sorry, I get a little fired up about these topics, all right? But thank you all for being here, and thank you all for a little bit of your time.